Yeah. Abani Johnny, everyone. This is Professor Amen Rahh, Professor Emeritus, California State University of Long Beach, um, former city councilman for the city of Compton, former Compton College Board of Trustee, and former Compton Unified School District Board of Trustee. Along with my co-host, Brother Joe Hemrick, who's a little bit under the weather, may not join us today, and we wish him well. Ask the ancestors and the Creator to bless him with a speedy recovery so he can come back and join us on the program, along with the brother Michinda, who is one of the strong contributors, who's worked with social services for years and working in the Deep South, and one of the deep thinkers that we have on the program that's a part of our brain thrust. And then we have the founder of the CNN Community Education Network, Brother Rashiki Maskani. For him, we're forever grateful for providing the Conscious Corner with a place on his platform to have what you would call a brain discussion, a deep discussion on critical issues facing African American people. Maybe some other people may join us tonight. It's the holidays, and people sometimes take holidays and vacation. But anyway, we're gonna get started by, first of all, getting a brief review of the last Conscious Corner that was on a last Thursday, with Dr. Maulana Karenga and his how he created Kwanzaa and how he has sustained it, and what was the theme, this year's theme, and a deep discussion. So we're going to start off by trying to find out what people thought about it, and hopefully if they learned anything. So Brother Michinda, how did you feel about the presentation? Did you get a chance to hear all of it?
Well, actually, I didn't. I wasn't there that night, so
Okay.
I did get the recording, and I listened to half of it. Like I said, I've been busy, so but what I did listen to was it was a blessing to have him on the show. Somebody that put together something of that magnitude. And I've met Dr. Karenga on a couple of occasions. I've traveled to the education. What is it? The community. What is it? What's the name of the center that he has?
African American Culture Center.
The African American Culture Center. I've visited that about maybe 3 times in my life. Back in the day when I was on my mission, I made it through there and sat back and just listened. But other than that, so I was very happy to hear that he was on there. And I actually I was I had forgot. I told Brother Rasaki, I was kind of just kicking back that night, and I realized that, man, and I missed it. So anyway, it's kind of historical, so for you to be able to get him to come on, I like to commend you for having that influence. And I think that for years to come, we'll have something from this platform, somebody that's historical figure that made and it still is making a major contribution toward the positivity and the upliftment for Black folks all over the world. And so again, as far as what I thought, like I say, from what I listened to, I think that he was very straightforward, on his answers. I know he took questions and answers and spoke his mind and delivered, but again, he wanted to focus on, the principles of Kwanzaa. And I think that, like I said, I think it's something that needs to be promoted even on a higher level, because in the world we live in today, though a lot, the seven principles are missing in a lot of ways, in a lot of families, a lot of communities, as far as, using those principles as a whole to bring together, Black consciousness, so but I appreciate the conversation and the commitment and the what he had to offer that night.
Okay, appreciate that, Michinda. What about you, Rashaki?
Oh, I was elated. I had a great time. I mean, when we have our shows, I tend to, just at times I'm not really, like overly excited, but I'm excited. But I was smiling, throughout the show. It was a real good turnout. Had over 35 people that showed up, and it was just a real heartfelt type of gathering, you know. And he said he would come back, so I can't wait for him to come back. And he was very positive. He wanted to focus on positivity, and basically I think he's in line with what the future should be like. We are Black people, but there's a I think in humanity there's a higher level of being, and what he represent is in line with that, where we could graduate from a color contact society to a more, human society. You can practice your culture, your ethics, and your racial identity, but when you involve with other humans that's not exactly like you, there's humanity there, and I think Dr. Karenga represents that. So it was a excellent gathering.
Mm, okay. It's a blessing for me to have Dr. Karenga as a friend, as a colleague, and as a master teacher. We're very, very close, brother. When I say close, we talk every day. Either I call him or he calls me, and we discuss politics, we discuss friendship, we discuss a major, like I called him this morning when I first heard that the president of Harvard was going to resign. He hadn't heard it because it was early in the morning, but I got up and listened to CNN, and the sister said she was going to resign because we were applauding her that she had resisted, and the community as well as the university was supporting her to stay at a faculty and all of that. But the pressure got so hard with them saying she plagiarized the thing, which was unfounded. They found out that wasn't correct. And just, going after her family, going after her, and then, it became overwhelming for her. But we did appreciate her. And that's why I called him to let him know that she had resigned, because we were really applauding her for resisting the pressure. But at the same time, the pressure can be overwhelming. It's best to resign than to be fired, and that way once you're fired, you lose a lot of benefits because they have to fire you for cause. And then they don't have to honor in terms of your contract. When you resign, you negotiate a servant's pay. You can go back and be a professor, and you can you can take off a year and get paid the same money you had as president. And they call it retooling yourself to get back into a professorship. And you better, there's benefits to it. You don't lose none of your health benefits, and they may even throw a few more, may put more in her retirement package as far as funds, so she can get a good pay when she retires. So we don't know what all the servants' pay was, but I'm pretty sure it's around that. That's what they generally do. But getting back to Maulana, as I said, we constantly talk off and on about different issues. But I'll get it back into me. But the good doctor is here. How you doing, Doc?
Hey, how you doing, Professor Rahh?
All right, everything's good. We said we're just getting a review of what we had on Thursday. Dr. Karenga. Did you get you were on, weren't you?
No.
No, you didn't get a chance. That's okay. Well, I'll continue, and then we're gonna move to the second question. But as I was saying, Kwanzaa was an act of freedom, an act of it was three acts: act of freedom, and an act of celebration of freedom, and an act of an act of sustaining and struggling for freedom. What happened was that, as Dr. Karenga said, Kwanzaa was started by Black people without seeking approval from whites or even Black people in power. This was out of the Watts rebellion of 1965. In 1966, he introduced it. And it was just for a small group of people. Now it's on every continent. There are groups celebrating Kwanzaa on every continent. And some estimate over 7 million people worldwide celebrated Kwanzaa. They have Kwanzaa United States stamp. They have, they then went like a proclamation of non-religious, non-political holiday. It's a non-personality holiday. It's about 7 principles. And hopefully that people will practice these principles in the family, in the community, in the nation, and in the race. And the first one, as he said, was umoja, something we strive toward. And he says striving toward unity is a very challenging thing because it don't come easy. I think the good doctor will tell you that, and I'm pretty sure Michinda have tried to organize, as well as Rashiki. It's very hard to get unity, even a small group of unity. And so we introduced the concept Operation Unity in 1966, also among the Black Congress, which I was a security for, because I was in YMT. Groups would attend these meetings, but they had different interests. The Panthers was more of a 10-point program, a program. Programs, once you fulfill the program, then you stop, but they were for like low rent, breakfast program, feeding people, those type of program, education center, political education, those things. That was the mainly 10-point program. And at that time, the Urban League was about jobs. OIC, Organization of Industrial, something about with Reverend Sullivan was for jobs. Ted Watkins, who was WLCAC, it was about jobs. And so once people got jobs, as they said, and I'm gonna get you suckers, we couldn't have no more meetings, and then you had civil rights groups, parents group culture, then it was groups against police abuse. We had the Community Alert Patrol, as well as Coalition Against Police Abuse. And we had SLANT, and we had a number of organizations that made up the Black Congress. The Brotherhood Crusade grew out of the Black Congress. And so we dig deeply tried to do Operation Unity, and that was unity with diversity, meaning that we're gonna have differences. Like Doc have his way of thinking, Michinda have his way of thinking, Rashki has his way of thinking. So, but what can we come together on? What are some basic things we agree upon? One is that we won't character assassinate each other, principles of cooperation. We won't character assassination. We won't, deceive each other, lie to each other. Won't, our principles of cooperation is based upon that. And how are we going to make decisions? Are we going to have one vote apiece, two votes if you're an organization? How decisions are made. That's principles of cooperation. It's just like when you get married. And when Dr. Karenga married me and my wife, we sat down and he said, first of all, do you want to get married? You got to first, that's the first thing. Are you married because you pressured, she pregnant, or you just tired of fighting it? You just to please her so she don't leave you, or she please you so you don't leave her? All those things, principles of cooperation. No violence, no cussing with each other. So that was a part of the principles of cooperation. No arguments, And when you use that to try to unify, you can it's best to lose the argument rather than lose the person. So no deceivement. And then a unity without uniformity. You don't have to say a lot of assalamu alaikums, or even the Nation of Islam was not for unity. The Nation of Islam has always said the unity is follow them. And that's up to today. Every Black United Front that ever came out, the nation never joined, because they said that they're ordained by God and that you're Muslim by nature. Some know it, some don't. And so they consider everybody Black person a Black Muslim, but some are active and some are not, and that they were the answer. So they would make the argument that you can't have too many heads, because more than one head that on anything would make it a monster. So they wouldn't join. But anyway, they would work and support. They would always call for unity. And most of your top religious groups who was part of the Black Congress, they saw us as converts, trying to convert you to their various religions. Most of the spiritual groups, Muslim, Jew, the Israelites, and the Moors, and the Christian Black liberation theologists. They saw you as converts. You convert to their belief. Consumer, if they could sell you something, or utilitarian, if they could use you. If you didn't fit in those three categories, they didn't want to have nothing to do with you. So it's very hard to build unity. That's my point. Because people be locked in their ideology. But we tried. And from there, so unity emoji was the first principle. Second one was Fuji Chakalia, self-determination. The right to name ourselves, the right to be ourselves, the right to defend ourselves, and the right to develop ourselves. But within our own cultural consciousness, going back to our tradition as an African people, and drawing from the best of African thought and practices. And and that's all Africans, wherever they are. So we have borrowed from the Jamaicans, we have borrowed from the Brazilians, we have borrowed Black Brazilians, African Brazilians. We borrowed from the brothers on the continent, each and every one of the ethnic groups that make up the continent. The continent is one of the most diverse continents out, because they have over 200-something languages, and But anyway, and so we want to determine ourselves. To name ourselves is very important. As long as the system look in the census and see you still naming your children after them, the slave owners, and won't give up the slave owner name, You know, and people have the right to keep it. Yeah, that's my uncle's name. That's my daddy's name. I'm a junior. I'm a third. That's not the issue. You know, I mean, if you have some type of just a need to maintain the Eurocentric name, a lot of Black conscious people kept their European names. They do it now, maybe for whatever reason, but our people should be free to name themselves whatever after their culture and after their identity. That was the point, to name ourselves from the richness of our culture. And we should have that right and shouldn't feel compelled to name ourselves after the oppressor and their children and their grandchildren and great-grandchildren. You know, you got some Black people named George Washington, you know. And George Washington was a big slave owner, killed all the Indians. He was never elected. The first time he wasn't elected because everybody couldn't get to the convention to elect. He was chosen because he was over the military. That's the only reason George Washington became the first president. But anyway, that's it. And so to be able to determine ourselves, see, if you look at what's going on today in Gaza, what went on here in the Americas, what went on in Russia, and what went on in every dominant in the area in South Africa. Europeans in Judge Higginbotham book in the matter of color about law, he says that the first thing the oppressor do is establish his own law to determine what's right and what's wrong, and develop the capacity to enforce and impose them laws on the land. And not only that, that when the oppressor take over the land, they didn't just kill the Indians, but they, in the United States, when they took over the land, they took over the oil deposits, the minerals. They took over the diamonds and the gold rush in California. They took all them resources that was the Native American had under the auspices. There was a manifest destiny. God wanted them to take it. You understand? And God was their real estate agent to grant them this country. And wiped out over 7 million Native Americans. And the rest they put on reservations. Signed 250 treaties with the Native Americans. The Native American kept every one of the treaties. America broke everyone because they had the military might to do it, like what they're doing right now in Gaza. It's not just about killing the resistant movement. You understand? Palestinians fighting because you're in their house, beating them, bombing them, and killing them. You talking about they're militants and that they terrorists. If you're defending yourself, defend yourself. If they're attacking you, defend yourself. But don't go there bombing churches, bombing hospitals, bombing schools, then moving the people out, trying to kill them with disease, trying to kill them with starvation, cutting off all news reports, and America helping you and just as much a part of it, sending you more weapons, more money to do it, and then getting on TV talking about we're trying to get them to stop killing civilians. Well, what are you giving them the stuff to do with? And you support it. Got 4 to 5 warships on the coast to help defend Israel from drones and from what they call rockets. What the hell is a rocket? That's like what people shoot on 4th of July. You understand? Do some damage if it hits something, but most of them are ineffective. While you got missiles and 2,000-ton drums of bombs and just obliterated it. America was quick to call Putin a war criminal for what he's doing in Ukraine. That's why Putin couldn't come to a lot of the meetings outside of Russia because he was afraid he'd get arrested. But they can't call the Israel president a war criminal. 20,000, 24, 25 that they can count. 1,000 people dead, babies. And they proved they're indiscriminately shooting. They shot their own people. They shot their own people. Trumped up charges that people raped them and did. But anyway, self-determination is very important. To defend your reality. Not let someone impose their reality and make their reality your reality. And then the second one is Ujima, collective working. I'm third one, Ujima, collective working responsibility. I mean, that we work together as a people in a principled way to build the community and build a world that we leave for our grandchildren and children better than the one we had. I mean, it's a service. The people in Tulsa couldn't defend themselves. You know, they did the best they could. They never talk about their resistance. They always just talk about the people just laid down. But those were soldiers, Black soldiers that came to defend the city, and they killed them all because they had the capacity to. And then the woman who lied in the elevator that somebody molested her, she later said that never happened. But they burnt the whole town down, took the people's land and stuff. They're trying to rebuild it and all that, but they weren't paying reparations. But anyway, Ujima's collective work. This is something you train your children. I remember my father, he had shoes he had since he was a youngster. And he was 47 when he made his transition. He always kept them in a trunk. He had spats. I don't know if Michinda and the doctor remembers spats, but they used to put them on top of your shoes, a leather thing. And they had spit shines and all that type of stuff back in them days. Black people used to dress, European dress, but they dressed. But the point is that you teach your kids to organize. Have the same toys you got when you were 2, when you're 52. You know, you never know if you could sell them as a souvenir, as a historical mark. I remember we used to get bazooka guns with the baseball players, and we never thought of it. You eat the gum and throw the card away. Now some of them people are trading them cards for millions of dollars. But we didn't know. We didn't know to save the card and all that. But it used to come in bazooka bubble gum, a big square gum. I don't know if any of y'all remember that, but if you were old enough. But the point is that, you know, we didn't know a lot of things. Like the first Apple computer created by a double drive, created by a brother named John Moon. Not Warren Moon, John Moon. Young kids know Warren Moon, but they never heard of John Moon. John Moon was so good with the computer that Apple wanted him so bad to move from Kentucky, somewhere where he was living, to the Simi Valley, that they let him design the whole building he'd be working in. He put a number of Black jazz artists in it and paid for his house and everything. He was a major engineer for Apple. You never hear. Because there'll be an inspiration for other young people. But anyway, that's collective working responsibility. Teaching your kids that they have a responsibility, not to be a problem to the family or the community, the culture, or the race. That's their responsibility. Don't let the world change you. You change the world. Want people to be like you. Don't you want to be like people? No matter how much they promote and give them money to act a fool, put on jewelry, put on tattoos, and run around in funny cars and calling women names or women calling men names. Remember when they had them sisters talking about we HBA, hoes with bitches with attitude, BAs or something like that. And then hoes with attitude. I mean, then you had the brother niggas with attitude. So what are you talking about? You know, everything you tell your kids not to be, they give them millions of dollars to look like Lil Wayne and Snoop. You won't name yourself after a dog, Snoop Doggy Dog. But it was a brand, and but people do that, and they make it into, that's my dog. What the hell are you talking about? Another human is a dog. That's my dog. That's my running dog. Oh man, it throws you off how the system can change your mind and change your concept and make you uh, degrade yourself. And so you have a responsibility to have pride and dignity. I teach all kids you should be straight A students. Straight A. Strive toward it even if you don't get it. Be concerned about it and want it, not just a CC rider. Just to get out of school. Those of you taught and those of you been there in probation, you know what I'm talking about. People that, they slick. They tell you what an ounce of dope is. You understand? They ain't tell you, how many sides of the dice when you roll it, how many times it tumbles. They can tell you all those things in lumping culture. You understand? But when it's like we say, kids could remember Rapper's Delight, but they can't remember a spelling word. Say, hey, no, you do what you want to do and what the system seduces you into. What you do most is what you do best, but you have a responsibility to your parents not to be a problem, to the community not to be a problem, to the nation not to be a problem, and to the race not to be a problem. And then there's a fourth principle called Ujamaa, cooperative economics. You have to choose to buy from Black people because, first of all, the stores are rare now. But it's an effort to find people to buy from. And then you have to compete, especially when you got a family and stuff with low prices at big box stores and things of this nature, and stretching that dollar so that you can have some. Because generally, Black people markets are small. Unless you go down in the South, some of them are big. But most of them are Black and small. And then many of them are franchises. I remember one of the first people to open up a bit, where we had Black businesses in Compton and Watts prior to 1965. And we had Black businesses all over because we're in segregated community. Mom and pop stores, barber shop, shoe shine shop, various shops like that, beauty salons. Hamburger stands, up and down Central. We had 3 Black hamburger stands on 100, from 101st all the way up to about 103rd that we used to go to. And they were Black owned. And you had a House of Burgers in Avalon. And you had Giant Burger in Willowbrook and on Rosecrans. And you had a couple of other places that were just, Black people flipping burgers. But at the same, Fat Burgers was all Black owned. And, and we was, I would just say Johnny's Pastrami's was at one time all Black owned. So we had that going. But, and so it was easy to find Black businesses in your community, but now it's hard. You have to drive further. Look further. In Inglewood, they got a lot of Black businesses, and I'm proud of that. They're still holding on. But at the same time, it's nowhere near the business that we used to have. And they didn't get burned down in the riots and things. Ultra Sheen shops and businesses, Johnson & Johnson, Motown, they sold their businesses to white people. You understand? They made them offer they couldn't refuse. And I understand that. Business. Somebody offer you big buck for your space and for your brand, and you sell the Golden Bird, guys that sold that, Mr. Stennis, he was on the board of trustees for the Cal State University system. He sold, because they get old and the kids don't want to do what they did. Taco Pete on 120th, they still Black, you understand? But a lot of the businesses are gone. But anyway, shop, buy, and then at the same time become fiscal and economically manageable. It's okay to spend money, white people. It's okay to spend money wherever you can to get the most out your dollar. But at the same time, realize that money is not just something you throw away on funny shoes, like shoes with a fish in the heel, diamonds on the tip of the toe of your shoe, and things that flash and big, thick chains looking like Mr. T around the neck. You understand? I mean, all that. Black men with double earrings, big giant stud earrings, like they paid somewhere $50,000 for something. You don't flash. You save money, invest it, as the good doctor would say, and make money off of money. That's what capitalism is. Capitalism is not how much you earn. It's how much you make off investments, making money off the money to capitalize off of your money, off of your earnings. Buy land and sell it. Buy an old car, fix it up and sell it. You understand? You have to think that way. And that's what Ujamaa does. Fifth principle is near purpose. What is your purpose in life? I mean, you look around, you see there's a sun, there's a moon. People used to worship both of them. So they had celestial gods, lunar gods. They had gods that walked around on earth. They had what they call deifications based on wisdom and knowledge, and your ability to contribute to the forward flow of humanity and society. And a unique skill. That's why Imhotep was deified. Akhenaten was deified. Nzinka was deified. Hatshepsut was deified as a queen, a goddess. You know, they even referred to Cleopatra and Queen of Sheba as goddesses. You know, because the gods walked around on earth with the people. And they weren't spooks in the sky. Then they came spiritual gods. Not doing the creation of Jesus and Muhammad and Abraham and all that. They way down the low road. You know, I'm talking about before all of that. You understand? When people move from the era of discovery to the area of institutionalizing ideology. See, when you eating good and secure, you can dream and you can fantasize. And you can come up with ideas. But when you ain't got no food, you ain't got no place to stay, and don't know where you're going to get some food, don't know where you're going to get to stay, you better get on out there and hustle. And you ain't thinking about the future. You're thinking about what you can get right now. And you ain't dreaming. You understand? You dream about where can you find some food? What raccoon can I catch? What possum I can catch, what rabbit I can catch, what fish I can fish, what beads and seeds I can eat. You understand? It's very important for your survival. And people had to move from food gatherers to food producers. And as you begin to produce food, you became prosperous. You begin to domesticate animals, herd animals, and then you begin to plant seeds. That's where totems came from. The wind blowing the seeds and other fruits growing and things of that nature, and nature coming in. But anyway, that's your purpose, is to do good and bring good into the world. To be the best person you can. And then creativity is cool, but the world hasn't created everything. People are still creating things. Look for things that people need. I was talking to Raja Key, we can get together and come up with some T-shirts and invest in some T-shirts with slogans of our great ancestors. Like Marcus Garvey would say, "Up, you mighty race. What we've done, we can do again." Frederick Douglass, "Without struggle, there's no progress." You know, I mean, there's all types of slogans we can come up with, and even cards, holiday cards, and Kwanzaa cards with various sayings and greetings and things of this nature that we can put online and stuff. So we're going to talk about that. But everything ain't created. There's always room for creation. I mean, whoever thought we'd walk around with phones in our pockets? You understand, when we was growing up? At least I didn't. We had a big, long-ass card with a 25-foot cord, and you couldn't stay on no more than 3 minutes. And sometimes you had a party line. People be on the line you don't even know. I mean, the times have changed. You got automation, technology. And Black people play a very important part in that. And then there's the final principle, which is faith. Faith in our Creator, whoever it is. I mean, even if it's evolution, that's a creation. If evolution created us, fine, it's still the Creator. And as well as the various religious groups, faith in your Creator, how you see life, and how you see the origin of life and the purpose of life and what happens after death. You're going to go to heaven or hell, or are you going to reincarnate? Or are you just going to be in the wind until someone ingests you and you come out another person? I mean, I don't know. Most people don't know. Every God was created by people. You understand? Every idea, every human idea was created by humans. They come up and it becomes a reality based on how many people believe it and plan to live that type of life and die that type of life. What made Christianity real is Jesus died for it, according to the story. You understand? He was on the cross. All you say, hey, man, look, God ain't my daddy. I'm sorry, y'all. You get me off this cross. You're right. Y'all right. But no, they don't call him a suicide. They say it was a sacrifice. And he came here to die for our sins and wash all our sins away. Well, hey, some people, hey, man, they take that to the grave. Our mothers and fathers and great mothers and fathers died as Christians. And that's what makes it real. They lived a Christian life, whether it was a true Christian or not. You may not believe in Christianity, but you can't say there ain't no Christians practicing it and believing in it when you got a billion of them. You understand? Same thing with Islam and Judaism. In Santiera, Buddhism, Hinduism, people live and die that life, the priests and all that. It makes it real that to them and to those that observe them, that they lived that life. They were born with christening, later baptism, and later crystallized at their transition. You understand? Yeah, I know people never been to church but want to get married in the church. Ain't that something? Because it's a tradition. Because that's where the first marriages came from, in the religious marriage groups. Even though people were living with each other way before they was married. Some lived 50, 60 years together, never was married, never had no paper, and never had no problem, never got a divorce or separation. Had 10, 20 kids. You go in the deep South, you see your mom and daddy been together, had children, grandchildren. You look up the history, they never got married. But they said they was married. Legally, I'm talking about. You see people living together now, cohabitation. Your daughters, your son's living with a woman, or your daughter living with a man, and you be saying, why don't you get married? Well, it don't mean nothing. Yes, it do. It's a paper. It's paper on each other. You understand? You split. Somebody else could say they was married and claim it's property if he died. That was a legal thing. Marriage is legal, not an emotional connection. It's a legally binding thing. But anyway, faith in our Creator, faith in ourselves, faith in our people, our parents. So that's what Dr. Karenga was saying. And I know I trans, and then the philosophy Kawaida, the best of African thought and practices, an ongoing synthesis and sensitivity in constant exchange with the world. That means that we take from the best of African thought and practices, the best of Malcolm X. He had contradictions. When he was young, he had contradictions, but we take the best. Just like the European never talk about how he was in the cave. Chinese don't never talk about all their problems. They talk about the best of their leadership. Mao Zedong, Chiang Kai-shek, all of them, they look at the best of their heroes and heroines. They're infallible because they're people. All people make mistakes. Look at all the priests that screw little kids. You understand? You understand? But they were priests. You understand? But they're fallible, Well, it wasn't like I was having sex with a woman. So God didn't say, he said just be celibate. That's celibate when you don't have sex with a woman. He didn't say little kids was off limits, or little boys, or even grown men. And that's what some nuns said. Anal sex ain't the same as intercourse. I mean, if you listen to them not. Listen to them, But anyway, that's what that was about. So anyway, that's what the thing was about. And I hope everybody listen to the tape again and enjoy what Dr. Karenga, who created Kwanzaa, and now it's all over the world, over 7 million on every continent. There's somebody, Black people, African. He created for Black people. And if you say, well, can white people join? Yeah. If they can celebrate Black people, yeah. If they can't celebrate Black, because that's what it's about. Now, before we leave, I want to find out from each of y'all, what do you think were the most two or three critical things that happened in 2023 that had a profound effect on Black people? For the majority, it could be a law, it could be a death, assassination, it could be a business corporation that created by Black people that about that had a profound effect that changed lives, or just something that we can look back upon and say this happened. It could even be a tragedy, So, Michinda, are you still there? Michinda? He said, yes, I had a game. What about you, good doctor? What would you say?
That's a good question. I'm still here trying to think. I'm waiting on Michinda to come on and say something. You have to throw some stuff out, Ra. You got to refresh our memory, because this year went by fast, man. I mean, he talk some, Ra. You got to put something out there, man. Okay, refresh my memory.
Okay, the Rashiki. What do you think?
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Well, for years, well, we all know that we're being controlled by the system that we live in. And, for years, just knowing about Israel and Palestine, that always had a profound effect on me, because it's like a capsulation of how brutal and evil and how cruel these people are. I just it's difficult to swallow things that they're doing over there in Israel and Palestine. It's disheartening. It always have had a profound effect on me, how heartless these people are, and even if you could call these people human, I mean, that's been this past year, the end of the year, that has had a profound effect on me, as always, when they keep attacking these people and killing them like they do. So it's just a amplification of how cruel of a system we live in, dominated by these people, and most of them are white. So just that alone, it's disheartening.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just said, it just lets us know that we got to change this.
Mm.
You know, my coach used to always say, if it is to be, it's up to me. So, you know, who all see that, and it just, you know, we have our struggles here, but that's just an amplification of it.
But you know, there was a number of things that you can look at, and some people don't even think it affected them. It had nothing to do with them, but it did. You understand, in many ways. First of all, the appointment of the first Black woman's Supreme Court justice. I think that was profound. That was no joke. You know, because she's up there and what she can tell us how the system works. Howard University. Even though she married to a white man, but hey, what can you say? But at the same time, that was a monumental thing for a sister that came up in a Black community and wearing and being able to stay steadfast with her consciousness. I mean, when she went to Howard, I mean, she took part in, and even the Black women's sorority saluted her not too long ago that she was a member of. The reason you have Black sororities and fraternities because they couldn't get in white ones. And so that's and they were at all Black colleges, well, predominantly Black colleges, you know, because some whites are going there to that. And then there, you know, and then the election of Warnock out of Atlanta. That kept the Senate in Democratic hands. You think if they got control of the Senate and the Congress, how wild it would be? You understand? So those are just a couple of things, and not counting the Crown Act in California, whereas you were allowed to wear your hair in an Afrocentric way without getting fired or forced to change your hairstyle. You couldn't wear African cornrow or dreads, even though some schools in the South still suspended people. But there was a national move toward that. And the role of Black people defeating a lot of the anti-abortionist people who in various states. That affected Black women and black people in many ways. You know, you when you think about it, you think about the role of legislation that had an effect on us. You think of the fact of economic gains that may have had effect on us. You know, we discovered in 2023 there's about four major Black men that are billionaires. You understand? You're talking about Magic Johnson, you're talking about Tiger Woods, you're talking about LeBron James, you're talking about, and there's one more, but I can't think of him, but that's profound, you know, with regards to their ability to accumulate that type of wealth and struggle and challenges from that standpoint. You have the first minority speaker of the House, a Black man, Brother Hakeem Jeffries, in Congress. And he's next in line to be Speaker of the House if the Democrats win. And that'd be the first Black man to have the gavel. Possible if these elections in 24 come out. But in 23, he's already prepared, they're seasoning him to be that type of a leader. And the same thing with regards to major motion pictures and classic motion pictures that Hamilton was about the Black experience. And so, you know, you look at some of these things. I mean, you know, you can look at movies, you can look at this, that had an effect on the consciousness of people and waking them up. But because it takes so long, something could happen in 21 and it don't get settled until 23. Does that make that a 23 act or 1921 act? And and that's what I'm talking about with regards to profound judgments and decisions by the court, and the things that you got 4 prosecutors that are Black going after Trump. That's what you know. You got the New York case dealing with taxes and stuff, and with that Michael Cohen went to prison for, the brother bringing those charges against Trump. You got the Atlanta case. You got the New York case. You know what I mean? And there's one more I can't even think of. All Black people, mostly Black women, and 1 Black man, 3 Black women, the DC woman, the Atlanta woman, and I can't think of the other one, but anyway, that's profound to me. That you know that shows resistance, and you know exposure of the corruptness in Black Lives Matter by the founder. Two of the founder. The masses of Black Lives chapters are strong and good, but the leadership behind multi-billion-dollar home, taking all the money and leaving the organizations, and you know we had some good times, we had some bad, but that took a lot of air out of Black Lives Matter when that happened, the feud, and then as Dr. Karenga mentioned, the resolution of working together between the San Diego chapter of the Black Panther and the organization, and it's spreading nationally, and the formation of different groups that we come. So there's a lot of good things happen in 2023. They just had 3 convictions of the young man that was walking in Colorado. I can't even think of his name right now. It's on the tip of my head. He was a little thin brother. They convicted the 3 police. They convicted 1 police officer and 2 paramedics out of the 5 people indicted. And I can't even think of that young man's name. Let me see if I got my notes. I got to think.
Was it Elijah McClain or
Yeah,
something like
Elijah
that?
McClain. Yeah, that's
Is it?
Yeah, that's him.
Elijah
Elijah McClain. He was a young kid walking home with the mask on, and they gave him a shot. First, they beat him up and wrestled him, and then when the paramedics came and the police captain, he got convicted, the chief, the head policeman. And then the paramedics, 2 of the paramedics got convicted, 1 didn't. And that came through struggle. Without Black people protesting, they never would have convicted them people in George Floyd. Yeah, there he is, Elijah McClain, that's him. So there was a lot of things that happened. But we as the people got to recognize that and be proud of what we achieved. And about the 5 officers that stumped this brother to death, this on trial. I forget what city that's in. Because it exposed the contradiction in what happens to the culture when you're a part of it. But anyway, that's about it, Doc. Can you think of anything, Doc?
No, like I said, I forgot all about those until you mentioned it. But I had a question. Go back to Kwanzaa. I listened to the show, This only question I have is, why is it during December? Why did he pick that month?
Well, it's called the winter solstice. Most major holidays are in the winter. Maybe Yom Kippur, whatever the Jewish people do, I forget what it is, and then the Christian holidays. And that was it. They wanted it on the 26th after Christmas, so people could celebrate Christmas and Kwanzaa. So that was the best time. At that time, you got to remember, it was 1966, and so therefore, it may could have came up with another process, but that was inconsistent with all major holidays, from Christmas to New Year's, or even in Thanksgiving is in November, just before December. All of those are winter solstice holidays. And it's a day of the fruits. And I think it's because Africans celebrate it at the end of the year. That's why they call it the days of the fruit. They celebrate a good year that they had growing crops and things of this nature. And they don't have grapes. And the reason that the fruit, every fruit is used except for grapes, is because we were supporting Cesar Chavez when he called for a grape boycott in the 60s. And as to be alliance with Latinos, we say we would not put grapes as a part of the fruit that goes in front of the Kanara, the holder and the candles. But he chose it because, as you go back into ancient history, it was around the winter solstice when Africans celebrated the Day of the Fruits. That's why it was chosen December. Any other questions?
I got one more question, and this is on me. I keep forgetting to look it up, so I can actually. I keep, I look at little things on YouTube. What's going on in the Congo? Because Ross Key just reminded me, because somebody said, "Hey, we're always talking about this Palestine and Israel, but they said we're not paying attention to something Congo." And I keep wanting to look it up. What's going on in the Congo that we should be aware of? I haven't looked it up yet.
Well, it's a struggle. America and the partitioning of Africa back in the 1900s, where all the European nations met and decided who was going to have what parts of Africa. And that's why they used to call it the Belgian Congo. Now it's called Zaire. But at the same time, at that time, and some people still refer to it as the Congo, and they dropped the Belgian because that's what the Europeans was colonizing. Almost every, like I said, they take the resources. They, killing the people was just to get rid of resistance. Now, and like Israel is trying to get rid of all the Palestinians, and they're going to occupy the Gaza Strip because that's the only way that they can make sure that they don't develop a military, and that's what they starve us for. We don't have the money to build a military. America paid their military. Every country paid their military. We were saying, why don't we have a black army? Well, you ain't got no money to pay people. You understand? It costs money. It costs money to enforce the laws. It costs money to make the laws. That's why they call them a bill. So that's the same thing with the Congo. The best way to do it is to keep what they call intergroup conflict, ethnic wars. Ethnicism is bad as racism. When people don't even know why they fight it, I just don't like you because you're a Hutu and you're a Butu or something like that. So that's what's going on in the continent. Nothing but chaos. You got over 25,000 troops from America in Africa, stationed in different ways. You got Russian troops. You got European troops. Why are they there? To guard their interests and to make sure that the people never control the land, where they're getting the diamonds, the coal, the oil, the all. Oh man, it's just and corrupting the leaders. And then when black people choose a leader, if he don't do what they say, they kill him. It's a sad. That's what happened to Patrice Lumumba. You understand? I mean, that's what happened to Idi Amin. Well, all of that. But anyway, so that's what's going on in the Congo. Colonialization, what they call neo-colonialism, whereas they put black people in charge that they control. Choose your leaders. Half the leaders we have here, white folks chose them. They call safe leaders. That's why they can't speak out against Israel. Name one major leader that then came out besides Maulana. Name me one. Name me one that just say, what Israel doing is genocide. There's a few little low-level, ground-level people talking like me and some scholars and stuff, but when it comes down to people that got a megaphone, name me a congresswoman or congressman besides a Palestinian woman who they censored. They just got this black woman fired at Harvard University for protecting freedom of speech by saying it's basically the context in which people criticize and telling people, if you're for peace, you're anti-Semitic. You're teaching hate against Jews because you ask them to be seen. They killing over 20,000, 20,000, 8,000 are children and babies. How's that defense? But they got the media saying that they're trying to cut down the killing of civilians, not stop it. And America can make them stop. America can make them have a two-state solution in a minute. Israel is America. That's not the Israel in the Bible. This is the Israel white. What are all them white people in the middle of all them Arabs? It makes sense. Talking about this, God gave me this land. The same thing America said to this land. They wiped out all the Indians, put them on reservations. They're wiping out all the Palestinians, putting them behind a big old fence in Gaza Strip. 7, 8 million people stuck in a 10, 20-mile radius. That don't even make sense, man. But anyway, that's why what's going on. It's a struggle. Whew. Doc, thanks for the question. Tough man. Say, look, Rashki, you gonna tell us what's going on tomorrow? You there? You on mute? You on mute?
We got Brother Chihuahua coming on. The title is A New Faculty _ Black Authority. So that should be very interesting. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anything else happening?
That's about it. Anybody for next week, Professor Rahh?
I'll call you in the morning.
Okay.
All right.
All right. So each one teach one, Conscious Corner. Everybody have a good evening.
All
We'll
right.
take our pause.
For the calls.